Okay.
We need Tracy. Where's our Tracy?
There she
There
is.
she is.
You guys got to sit closer together. Oh, there we go.
Good.
Oh,
Look
no,
at
you're
it.
good. You're good. You're good.
Good.
All right. This looks good. Do you like the pool in my background? I wish it was
amazing. We're jealous. Yeah.
I'm jealous too because it's not my pool. Welcome everybody to the Connect Show, episode 7 of season 3. Today is the last show for networking for October. So I'm going to kind of miss this networking month. We've had a pretty good month with all the networking people and fusion and everything else. But next month, we're moving on to acceleration. So I'm just as eagerly excited for that because that's going to showcase small business owners and tools that help you accelerate your business. Either these small business owners that we're going to have on as guests have accelerated their business to levels that we would love to accelerate our businesses to. And we're going to have them on the show and they're going to tell us exactly how they did it. Or we're going to find some people who have a great tool and they can tell us how to use it and to use it for our business. So all those things I think are going to be great. And we'll find out more next month when we get all those guests on the show.
I'm excited. I'll be a little sad we love networking, so I'll be a little sad to say goodbye to it, but that's okay. Today we have 2 great guests, Tanya Murphy and Karina to talk about networking. And Tracy and I both love networking a ton. We both run groups. So I'm really looking forward to our conversations today and maybe learning about a few groups I didn't know about. So.
Yep. And today the Connect Show is brought to you by Connect Media Live. Connect Media Live is a brand that is designed by John Taylor and Kim Knock and myself. And we help many people through social media, web developments, video, all the things that you would need to have your own show. So if you're thinking that you might want to have your own show for your business, maybe you want to interview somebody once a month or once a week or something, contact us and we can try to see if it's going to be a good fit for you.
We want to also thank our sponsor, Expansive Workspace, where we broadcast the Connect Show every week right out of Studio A5. John's got an awesome setup. It's a great place to work. I'm not sporting one of the expansive cups today. I'm feeling a little guilty, but I've got my pink drink again. So it's a great community to be a part of.
And as always, we're happy that you come to watch the Connect Show. And if you think of a topic that we should be discussing, please email us at theideas@theconnectshow.com.
Last week, we had our huge fusion event, the business shower. It was a huge success. And our winner, Shantina Gladney, we get to talk to her today. She has the Collective in Bayshore Mall. And we get to have a nice, wonderful call with her today and talk about all the great things she's getting. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
That is not the right number. It was $17,000.
Yeah, it was. It grew pretty fast there towards the end.
It did. But hey, I mean, like a month ago, we were at that 14,000. That's pretty great. Mitch, what do you got for us today?
Well, and it was awesome to watch as more and more people got excited about the business shower and that number kept going up and up. You know, we were at that 14,000 number, I think, for a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden, as more guests came on the Connect Show and more people started hearing about it, oh, I could throw in this, a year membership to this, or a year's worth of this. And all of a sudden, let's add $500 value. Let's add $1,000 value. So it was over $17,000 of value. And I'm so excited. I know you guys have a call with Shantina today. I'm so excited to pop in there. So I live within walking distance of Bayshore. And I'm so excited that after your phone call, like sometime this week, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I heard about you on the Connect Show. And, you know, I know Kim and Tracy and John, and I'm just so excited for Shantina and her team. They're building something really special there at Bayshore. And so I'm so excited to go in there, to use their co-working space, to be, to shop there at the shops they have on the first floor. It's a really cool, if you have an opportunity to get to Bayshore, everybody should get there and check it out because they're building something special.
I really can't wait to check it out.
Yeah. And it was an awesome event last week. I mean, it was so much fun. It was, it's kind of, we come back in this week and we're in Studio A5, which we love, but it's kind of, walking through Expansive here in Wauwatosa, It's like we walk right past that area we had, and it's like, oh yeah, last week we had everything set up and all the cameras and all the, and all the networking. And speaking of networking, really excited for networking today and to hear what our two special guests have to say about networking. So Tanya Murphy is here, and she is a travel guru. If you've ever thought about traveling, you should talk to Tanya for sure. And she didn't start out in travel. She started out at Northwestern Mutual, and she was there for a long time. And she, as we say, once pandemic hit, that everybody, had to figure out their pivot. Well, Tanya pivoted before pivoting was cool. She pivoted to travel and became, a vacation planner for busy people. Now, one of the things she has on her LinkedIn profile is she loves scuba, and she also loves tequila. And I just hope, for Tanya's sake, that she doesn't love them together. But I can't wait to hear about scuba and about tequila. I'm a big tequila fan myself as well. So Tanya Murphy is going to be here, and she says, if you're ever thinking about traveling, if you've ever thought about it, if you're planning a big trip, you don't want to do it by yourself. You don't want to do it over the computer with somebody. You want to do it with someone in person. Tanya's here for you. And if you want to do it, try it. Just, you want to go to a place you've never heard of before, or you don't know a whole lot about. Well, let your team work for you, and let Tanya work for you. And so I'm excited to hear about all her networking tips as she gets involved in that. And then Karina Kretschmer is here as well. She's with Ansay & Associates. Ansay & Associates, for those of you who don't know, based in Port Washington, I believe, and it's been around like forever. Like, the Ansay family is an institution in Port Washington. They have agents all over the state, and they're an insurance agency. They're doing great things in our community as well. So while Karina's specialty is in commercial and personal insurance, she also is very involved in her community. She's a member of the city council in Burlington. She lives in Burlington. She did let me know she's not close personal friends with Tony Romo. But of course, we all know Tony Romo from Burlington. And we did talk about that. It's nice that, Tony Romo's big time, Dallas Cowboys, and now he works, on network TV, but he still comes back to his hometown. He still gives back. And so we talked about how important that is for Karina, giving back to her community and being part of that. So really excited to hear from Karina and Tanya coming up on the show.
I love how you always throw some sports stats.
Oh, there's got to be, as I tell people, like, I like getting involved in the community. I like doing all sorts of stuff, but there's always a foundation of sports there. There's always that sports nugget.
It's fabulous.
For sure.
Fabulous.
Thanks so much, Mitch. I just want to do a quick reminder that we are streaming online on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And so if you are watching us on any one of those platforms, and if you have any comments, please put them in the chat, because we'll see them when the guests are on the show. If you have any questions for the guests, please let us know by putting comments in the chat. And just to let you know, we will see them. So,
and you know what I love? I love, even when I'm sitting here every day on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock on my phone, it pops up. The Connect Show is live. And I love that reminder that I have on my phone. So if you're watching for the first time maybe today, or you've watched a couple times, you can set that up as a reminder as well, so that every Tuesday morning, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn, whatever it might be, you can get that live reminder. And I think that's a big help, because then I'm like, well, it's right there. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to hear what everybody has to say.
And then you usually, when you're done in the studio, you go watch it.
I go watch it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
it's right, and the link is right there for me.
I love it. I love it. We are a volunteer show at the Connect Show. We always ask for volunteers to be part of the development team. If you like the show, you want to help out, you want to give some advice, you want to create something, topics, whatever it might be, email us at ideas@theconnectshow.com. We definitely want to say a giant thank you to the team. A lot of the donations for last week's Fusion came from volunteers on the show. So tremendous success that way. And we want to thank the team. So let's hear from one of our volunteers.
Welcome to Studio A5, MKE Video's Content Creation Lab. I want to talk to you about how one of our clients used the lab to be successful. So they have a 30-minute show, and it usually runs a little bit over because they like to talk. But they have guests from all over the world, and they take questions from the audience. Now, when we create this show, they may have 50 people online who are watching the show live and interacting with it when we broadcast the show live on 5 different platforms simultaneously. All of those people online can chat with us, and we can put those right on the screen. And this allows the host to interact with the audience in real time, answer their questions, and address their concerns. So this does a couple of things. One is it makes the host of the show, they're getting reps. They're doing the learning by teaching, and they're answering the questions of their ideal clients. Their ideal clients are giving them all of the fuel that they need to create more content because they're asking the questions, the things that concern them. So then when we create content, social media content, we can just use all of the questions that the audience is putting into the chat and interacting with our host. So this is just one way that using a live broadcast can really accelerate your business by getting that real-time feedback and interaction with your clients on a regular basis. I'm going to talk a little bit more tomorrow about how we can break up that content and leverage it to reach a wider audience.
I love it. And we're back. This quote gets me. The currency of real networking is not greed, but generosity. And that's from Keith Ferrazzi.
I love it. Yeah, Ferrazzi.
Ferrazzi.
Yeah, Ferrazzi.
I think that's great.
They always give me the names. They always give me the names.
Ferrazzi.
And thank you, John, for that great video on creating your own show.
Yep.
John knows all the things.
He does.
He really does. Does a fantastic job.
I like just being in his aura sometimes.
Yeah,
Just,
I know.
Just glomming off whatever I can.
Gives you all the good mojo, and
The
you
good
come on
vibes,
camera and you smile.
Yeah.
And he's like
As he says,
enough.
Yeah. Moving
Stop.
on. Yeah.
He's like, we're done.
Maybe we should move into our question of the day, Ms. Kim.
I think let's do that, Tracy.
So our question of the day is, how do we expand beyond our core networking group? And we actually had this conversation a couple weeks ago because with all the different networking groups that are out there, sometimes you feel like you're seeing a lot of the same people at the same events, and which is great because you want to nurture all those relationships. But at some point, you want to be able to get into some newer groups or meet a totally different group of people and start networking with those people. So how are you doing that? How are you accomplishing that?
Well, I run 2 different networking groups. I run the Professional Women of Wisconsin networking group. Both of my networking groups are free, so anyone is welcome to come or go. But then I also like to just randomly attend some, which can be a little bit difficult because you want to nurture those relationships. I'm not a one and done kind of person. I don't want to just go hand out my business card to 50 people, never see you again. That's not the point of networking to me. It's more about what I hear than what I'm giving out. So I definitely attend just about all of the Small Business Milwaukee ones. And I attend my 4 live ones a month that I do. And like I said, I try to, at least the newer ones that I'll go to, even if I can't go every month, I'll maybe try to go every few months so that I can still nurture those relationships that I've been working on building. And what ends up happening is some of those people then come to my groups too, because we want to continue that relationship. So how about you, Tracy?
Yeah, I think I kind of do the same thing, but then there is the dilemma of how am I going to add another consistent networking group to my existing ones that I go to. But I think going to some of the ones that are just a one-day presentation that might happen every few months or maybe twice a year or something, that might be a little bit more advantageous to go to, because then everybody there is expecting to see everybody just that one time. And then you don't have to continue because they don't have any other events. So trying to hit some of those bigger events where maybe you're not going to be able to talk to everybody as if you would with a smaller one that you go to consistently, but trying to go to a bigger one. And then you never know, you can build relationships where you're not seeing them at networking events all the time, but you make time to see them outside of your network or invite them to your own networking events. Like you said. So
I'm curious, Mitch,
Yeah.
if you go to a networking event, do you sit by people you know, or do you go sit by someone you've never met before?
So that was one of the things I was thinking about when I thought about this question, is that it's so easy to sit next to the people you know, right? That you've networked with before, that you've developed a friendship or a relationship with. I mean, we saw last week at the Fusion event, it was easy to sit with the people we wanted to be with. But I think that one thing to remind ourselves is to really push yourself out of that comfort zone, to go sit next to somebody you don't know or haven't met before, or maybe you've seen them at events before, but you've never introduced or never gotten the relationship past, oh, hi, I'm so-and-so, and this is what I do, and develop that relationship further. So I think it's really important to challenge yourself, even those of us who are seasoned networkers, or think that we're outgoing and at every event and running our own events. There's still people there who we haven't met, who we haven't networked with. And I think one of the other ways to get out of our core networking, not necessarily out of our core networking group, but to expand that group, challenge yourself and challenge the people, again, your friendlies, the people you have relationships with, to next week, bring someone new. Just bring one new person. You don't have to bring 3 new people. You don't have to bring 8 new people. Just bring one new person. Because if you're in a networking group of 10 people and let's say 5 of them bring a new person, all of a sudden you're at 15, but it's new people to network with. It's new people to hear their stories and to connect with and see what we have in common. And that's where networking really flourishes. So I think get out of your comfort zone, go talk to that person maybe you've heard about or maybe you recognize but you don't know, and invite new people and challenge your network to invite new people as well.
I like that. And one thing I always do too, like on Tracy's Zoom events, it's usually her and I that are introduced first, and then I call on somebody that has never been in the meeting before. That's always great. A, because I want them to feel welcome, and B, like I want you to know, like I want to hear your story. I want to know what you have to say. You might only have a minute, but I want to know what you have to say. That's so great. It's really important to me to always make those new people feel welcome on an online event when you're like, I don't know if I want to go in.
Especially because on some of those events, we get people that have never seen our events or anything before, and they just pop in and they have no idea what to expect. So it gets it over. It gets it over for them quicker too, and they're not waiting the whole time going, oh, when are they going to call on me? When are they going to call on me?
Exactly.
Because it's easy to just, for the people who've been there before, they know the routine, they know the questions, they know everything that's going on. But I think you really want to increase that comfort level for people who are newer or people who may not feel as comfortable. You want to increase their ability to share their story.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm all about learning about others and not talking so much about myself. I say the same thing every week anyway. So
Yeah. And then the more comfortable they are, the more they're going to come back, which is only going to benefit them and everybody else in the group. So
exactly.
Kim, do we have any comments in the chat, John?
No comments in the chat.
All righty.
Sorry, I'm just trying to read something. There is a chat in there, but I'm having a very hard time reading it. I kind of get it. So, so do you do anything else to stay out of your core, or to expand?
Well, I tell you, that Fusion event put me a little bit out of my regular element, lining up all the presenters, and I was so happy that we actually stayed on time that day, because that can be really challenging. There was 11 different presenters, and having everybody stay on time or under time, that was great. So that was pretty cool. And then just standing up there and doing that presentation, I don't know. But I mean, I've done presentations before, but every single time makes me nervous.
I was nervous too.
But that's a good thing. There's nervous energy, right? Nervous can lead to positivity. I don't think nervous is a bad thing.
I just wanted everyone to feel like they learned something and that they could literally take something that I said and do it that day.
Yeah.
So that was what was maybe most nerve-wracking for me. What can you take out of this today? That was the goal. Change someone's business in 10 minutes. So that was the goal, and that's what I tried to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a good event.
It was great. Absolutely great. Still no comments in the chat, I don't believe. Sorry, we're
there we go.
I think we're ready to transition into our first guest. Hey!
So just while we bring Tanya on, I can bring a little bit of insight into networking.
Awesome.
With networking for me, I kind of got away from it for a little bit because I felt like I was just not working because I was networking, right? And I needed to kind of step away and then reevaluate because I wasn't being consistent. And I think that's, one of the things that we can do, or that I need to do, is show up every week and just do one thing good, instead of trying to do a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, I agree. It can get pretty overwhelming when you're going to too many networking events, and then it can feel like you're missing out on all the opportunities when you're not going to any.
Right?
Yeah.
FOMO.
Yeah.
FOMO is real.
If I
FOMO is
could
real.
just do networking all the time, I think I would be totally ecstatic with that. But if I really think about it, I probably wouldn't, because I do thrive on a finished product and achievement and all that kind of stuff. And you're just not going to get that when you're just talking to people all day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. So I think we're ready. Are you starting off, or is Kim?
I am.
Better rip.
Tanya is a corporate American escapee who took every vacation day she was ever given and thinks that we should too. She's a world traveler, avid reader, scuba diver, poker player, singer, amateur cyclist, on and off fitness enthusiast who also likes wine and tequila. And she's a wife of 23 years.
Tanya's favorite part of her job is helping people go and see things they've never seen, do things they've never done, and experience the people and places of this wonderful planet.
Woohoo!
Welcome,
Tracy.
Tanya, to the show. I know I was having a coughing jag. I was trying to save you guys from hearing it.
That's the worst.
So welcome, Tanya, to the show. So the question of the day, I know that you have also networking groups, but how do you find ways to find different ways to get into different networking groups that you might not have been a part of previously?
So I actually have a little different answer to that question, if that's okay.
Of course.
I think
Yes.
the biggest thing that people sometimes overlook about networking is, if you feel like it's getting a little stale, or you're seeing a lot of the same people, as you mentioned, Tracy, stop only going to quote unquote networking events. Do you know where I've gotten some of my best clients and done some of my best networking is with my golf league, my poker league.
Interesting.
When I've been traveling myself and I'm on a scuba boat. Because here's the thing, naturally, when you're meeting new people, regardless of the environment, you're naturally going to get into a conversation about what you do. It's one of the first questions people ask, right? So when you join other groups that have nothing to do with networking, just have to do with an interest of yours, just getting out there, doing things you enjoy, meeting new people that way, guess what? That's also networking. You're always meeting new people. And so if it's feeling a little dull, think about, do you like bowling? Join a bowling league. Do you like golf? Join a golf league. Do you like pickleball? Pickleball is like taking the world by storm. Go learn to play pickleball. You will naturally meet new people. You are networking. That's all networking is meeting new people. So go do some other stuff besides networking.
I would definitely have to say a lot of my clients have come from more things that I'm doing naturally than actually the networking groups, but I still like to help people and build those relationships.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Networking is a huge
Yeah.
part of building a small business, but it's not the only thing. And so that's my advice. If it's feeling a little like you're on the treadmill and nothing's happening, go do something different.
I like it.
It's great advice. And you can go to Meetup and they have all sorts of different trendy place or events that you could do. Like they even have like tour buses on Friday nights. You can tour like downtown Milwaukee, and like there's all sorts of cool things out there.
It's really funny that you say that. I went on my first trip to it was out of the country, but I got my very first actual client while on that trip. He's like, start your business, do your thing. I'm going to be your first client. And he lived in a totally different state. It was
so great.
Unbelievable. I was in St. Thomas and I was like, wow, we had we had great conversations. We got to know each other really well over a week. He got to see the kind of person that I really was, and he's like, I want to trust in you and give you a try. Go for it.
Right.
Start it
And
and do it.
you know, I hear what you're saying too about, you know, wanting to help people. And I heard you say that you run some groups, right?
Mhm.
I would be remiss not to mention that I also run a group,
Yes.
eWomen Network. I'm the managing director of the Milwaukee chapter of eWomen Network. So obviously networking is pretty important to me too.
Yeah.
And we have a great group of ladies and gentlemen in this group. We do welcome men. It's a female forward organization, but we do welcome men into the group as well. So a couple other groups too. So
Excellent.
fun, super fun.
Awesome.
So with the current state of COVID and travel, do we still have to jump through a bunch of hoops with respect to testing and vaccination to travel? Yeah. What is the standards on that now?
I want to know this.
Right. So I have really nothing but good news to share on this front. The trend for the past really several months has been away from having too many COVID requirements. Many countries have dropped requirements for vaccination and testing. Not all of them, but many of them have. And even cruise ships, which I almost never thought that would happen, are starting to welcome unvaccinated passengers onto the ships. They may still ask you to test if you're not vaccinated before you get on the ship, but that's probably reasonable.
Sure.
And even some cruise lines have announced that sometime next year, they'll likely drop that requirement as well. And so obviously they're monitoring things as we continue down this path of taking away all of these requirements. The US dropped their requirement to test on the way back into the country way back in January. And so it really is a much more wide open world now. And I love that we asked that question because there's still a lot of people out there that don't know that. I get calls every week from people being like, do I still have to do this or that to go to this country? Do I still have to test to come to the US, back to the US? And, you know, we got rid of that a long time ago, but people just don't know.
Mm-mm.
They just don't know. And so it's been really awesome to be able to just kind of share all that good news with people that the world is really kind of back open for business. And it's really exciting.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Time for me to go travel again.
Right?
Speaking of, what the heck is going on with airfare? It's crazy.
Yeah, it is a little crazy.
Where are people traveling and your most popular requests?
So the airfare thing, I'll just say a little thing about that. You know, the airline industry is struggling with a lot of the same post-pandemic challenges that a lot of other industries are. Staffing issues, things like that. And so, yeah, airfare is very volatile right now. But one of the good things that most airlines have done is they've all kind of become like Southwest now, where if you pay a lot for a ticket, but then it drops, most airlines now are offering free changes. And so you can do the same thing. You can rebook that ticket for a lower rate. You won't get your money back, but you'll have a credit with that airline to use for a future trip. And so, yeah, airfare is crazy. And it's going to take a little while for all that to work itself out. My biggest requests right now, I have been working on a lot of Europe, which is not surprising. I think people have been kind of keeping an eye on, you know, the dollar versus the euro, and we're in a very favorable position with that right now. So your dollar is going pretty far in Europe right now, and so that's been a very popular request. Doing a lot of spring break trips, and I always tell people, you know, you really should be working on your spring break trips if you have kids, families, things like that, like when the school year starts, because I've been booking spring break since the summertime, and it does fill up because it's a very popular time to travel. So doing a lot of spring break trips to, you know, Mexico, Punta Cana, Jamaica, Hawaii, all those kind of places. Those are very popular. And cruising, because you can now cruise whether you're vaccinated or not. A lot of people are coming back to that too, and just fewer hoops. Like even people who were vaccinated and could go, maybe they didn't want to go because they had to, you know, do a bunch of COVID tests or whatever. So, you know, getting rid of some of that has really helped people to just be able to say, you know what, I'm ready to go on that cruise. I'm ready to do my thing, because even though I could have before, it's just less hoops for me to jump through now. So that's cool.
That's exciting.
So what about travel insurance? Is it really necessary, or is it a total scam? And what are some tips for saving money on travel?
Okay.
I mean, just to put it bluntly.
Right. So I love that question, because what people don't understand about travel insurance is that it's not just for cancellation. right? So people will say to me, I don't want travel insurance because I'm not planning to cancel, so I don't need it. Well, first of all, nobody plans to cancel. You don't plan for your kids to get the flu 3 days before you were supposed to go on your Caribbean trip, right? But those things do happen. But that's not actually your biggest risk. By the very nature of the fact that you spent the money on the trip, you can probably do without it, right? So people think to themselves, well, even if I do have to cancel it and I lose some money, I mean, I spent the money, so it would suck to lose it, but it wouldn't be devastating. So I'm not going to buy travel insurance. It's actually not your biggest risk. Your biggest risk is some of the other things that can happen that travel insurance helps you with, like trip interruption. Okay, so what if mom or dad suddenly gets sick at home, or grandma or grandpa suddenly passes away, and you have to take the whole family last minute home, buy last minute one-way plane tickets. Okay, that's a lot of money out of pocket. Travel insurance pays for that. What if one of you gets sick or hurt on the trip? I myself had an injury in the Bahamas back in May. I had to go to the ER. My travel insurance helped me pay for that, because your US health insurance, guess what? Most of the time does not cover you out of the country. So if you have to have emergency appendectomy in Mexico and it costs $30,000, you're going to be paying for that. Or you can let travel insurance pay for it. Okay. So those are the things that people don't know about travel insurance. It's not a scam. And one silver lining of COVID, there haven't been many, is, with respect to travel anyway, is that more people are buying travel insurance for their trips. And I think that's a good thing. So
I definitely bought it when I went on my trip, just because it was so, I mean, it was so unknown what could happen. And you had to go through all these tests and everything to get, I think I had to do like 3 different tests just to get into St. Thomas.
Yep.
Granted, I felt very safe because I had to test so much,
right.
But it was insane. And
Right.
if that trip had to be canceled because of that, I would have been devastated,
Right.
both
Right.
financially and my heart.
Right. You spend this money and you want to be able to go. And so being able to do that is fun. So speaking of money, your second question was, what are some tips for saving money on travel? This is one of my favorite things to talk about. So one of the biggest tips I have is travel during the shoulder season. So most popular places that tourists go, that people travel to, have a high season and a low season. And the high season is when everybody else wants to go, right? It's when all the crowds are there and the prices are the highest. Now, probably it's also the best weather, but you got to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. Traveling during the shoulder season, you generally get better prices and fewer crowds. For example, I just took a group of people to Ireland. I had a group of 17 people. We went to Ireland. We did a little, 7-night tour of the southern part of Ireland. And we went in late September into early October. We enjoyed way fewer crowds. We enjoyed better prices. We could actually walk into, bars and restaurants and be able to, sit down and have a meal or a pint of Guinness or a whiskey. And so that's one of my biggest tips, is travel during the shoulder season. Avoid the high season if you can. It's not always possible. Alaska cruises, for example, you can only travel May to October, and usually just early October for an Alaska cruise. And so you're kind of stuck with that season. But I will give you one tip about that. Either go in the way early part of the season or the way late part of the season. That's when the prices are lowest, and they kind of go like this in the middle, like right in the middle is when they'll peak. So if you watch for those seasonal changes in prices, it can really save you significant money, especially when you have, several people you're bringing on the trip. So
Yeah. Wow, those are great tips. I'm all about saving money on our trip. Absolutely.
yeah, you should get the biggest bang for your buck. Travel, like anything else, you definitely get what you pay for, but you want to get the biggest bang for your buck.
Awesome.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tanya. Do you have an offer or anything you'd like to share with our audience today?
Sure. I do have a VIP Facebook group. It's called the Bestest Travel Club Ever. And there's a funny story about that I don't have to share today, but I was doing that. Well, I guess I will share it. I was doing that thing that all business owners do, where you don't do a thing because you're waiting for the perfect thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was waiting to come up with the absolute most perfect title for my VIP travel club on Facebook. And finally, I got so frustrated with myself. I finally just, out of pure frustration, put out the Bestest Travel Club Ever. And then it just stuck. And I'm like, this is great. this is great. And so I do have that group, and what we do in that group is that's where I share kind of like all my best tips and content. It's also where we announce new group trips for the first time. That group gets first dibs on anything new that we're doing. So it's a pretty fun little group.
I like how you came up. I like how you came up with that. It's like the restaurant to be named later. I just took a page out of Mitch's book.
Exactly.
Reeling it into sports, but
yeah, that's that procrastination, not perfection thing going on there. Because we always do, and then we go so sick of ourselves, we just call it whatever.
We also have a page for you on the website, theconnectshow.com/Tanya Murphy. And they can connect with you. I think it leads to your LinkedIn. Tracy will know everything that it connects to. But yeah, I'd love to have you on the show today, learning about travel and networking. Two great things.
Lovely. Yes. Two of my favorite things.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Where can they find a little bit more about your networking event? Like when's your next one?
Actually, our next one is this week, Thursday morning. We're having a virtual mastermind. These are smaller group meetings limited to only 12 people, where everybody gets a little time on the hot seat to share a business opportunity or challenge that they have and get collective wisdom from the group. These are really powerful events, and people usually walk away feeling pretty excited with all their new ideas that they have from the group. So we're doing that this Thursday. It is virtual from 9 to 11 a.m. and you can find that event on eWomenNetwork.com, and just you can filter the events by this week, next month, and you'll find us there. There's many chapters, but you're looking for the Milwaukee chapter. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So are we hearing from Mitch? No, probably not. So I thinking that we're transitioning to our next guest. So I'm just going to talk a little bit more about how there's John. Hey, John, can you tell us a little bit more about the show that's happening tomorrow at Expansive?
Oh, the Coaches Culmination event.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic event. So Ariel Kopech has a group called the Coaches Culmination, and they're like a cohort of coaches that work together to be better coaches, to help address the challenges and the problems that you have. And tomorrow is Master the Monsters, and it's about that inner voice that holds you back and prevents you from being your best self and doing the do. So that's from 2 until 4. There's tickets. It's going to be in person only, and it's a great networking event. A lot of people are attending. I think there's about 30 people on the list right now. So there should be about a full room here at Expansive at 11220 West Burleigh, Wauwatosa, Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, I've attended the last few of them, and the energy that you leave after one of those events, because of all the inspiration and the tools that they give you to help you move forward and get past some of your monsters, they're fantastic. And it's presenter after presenter after presenter with good stuff.
Well, so they're going to have there's 3 segments, and the first segment is presenters, and then the second segment is going to be real life coaching. So we're going to break into 6 groups. And you're going to have a coach, and then you're going to have a few people, and you can address a problem, or we can touch on something that was talked about in the previous segment. And then after, we're going to bring it all back and do a panel where we kind of unpack some of those bigger questions and see how we can make progress. It's really, how can we change your life in 2 hours?
Yeah.
That's what they're doing. We do it in 10 minutes, but they do it in 2 hours. A little more of a deep dive. We're all good. We're all trying to change the world, right? It's good.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad. I'm excited to see those events. So I'm glad that we were able to talk about it quick too, in case anybody wants to go to it, because they're pretty good.
Right on. So who's bringing it out? Tracy's bringing it out.
I am. So Karina started her career in the insurance industry over 24 years ago. She started when she was 8, and in the personal insurance role as a receptionist and customer service advisor. In 2006, her sales career began helping families with their personal insurance needs.
Karina's goal is to help business owners not only with their business insurance, but their personal insurance as well. Karina finds it beneficial for the client to have one agent for both to ensure that they're protected correctly. Her passion is helping individuals and businesses achieve the peace of mind that comes from knowing they are adequately protected. Welcome to the show, Karina. So we're going to refer a little bit back to the morning audience question that we had. How do you expand yourself from a core networking group, or do you stick with kind of one networking group? And
Oh, that's a great question. Networking, if you're just starting out in networking, it is going to be a little bit of a, how you want to say, a job. You have to know and find the right fit for the networking group for yourself. And the main thing too is you need to give in order to get. I'm a huge giver. I'm very passionate about helping others, love to educate, and you can't just be in one or two networking groups. You need to be in several. Get into your community. I'm a huge into the community, even in the community surrounding myself as well. So that's huge as well. As long as you get out in front of others and let them know who you are, and it's just the building of trust, right? Need to build that relationship.
building relationships are key.
So you also have a networking group also. Can you tell us a little bit about your group?
Yes. So it is the I-94 networking group. It is at Mimosas in Franklin, and we meet once a month, which is on the first Wednesday of every month at 7:30 in the morning. If you're able, yes, you can have a mimosa. They have amazing food over there as well, and we typically it is definitely a bunch of us business owners just getting to know each other.
I love that.
Great.
I love that.
Is it a free networking group, or can you tell us a little bit, like, what are the parameters of entry?
Yeah, definitely, of course. Yes, it is free. It is
Okay.
free to come. The more the merrier. We are beginning to grow from 15, because it's a smaller restaurant. So in the event that we do start growing even more, we're going to have to probably move. But yes, it is an amazing group. I do have connections with these networkers that I do have with other networking groups as well. So we meet, and the thing is it's informal, I guess you could say. We have a question of the day and so on and so forth.
Nice.
I love it. So you said that your goal is to help business owners not only with business insurance but their personal insurance. How do you do that? What's
Putting the right hat on.
putting the right hat on?
You need to know. Yes,
today?
you need to know your coverages and the risk that you have. For instance, can I give you a little bit of an example that just happened recently?
Oh, of course. Yes, please do.
I just met with a prospect who does have an LLC, and their vehicles are in an LLC. However, the vehicles are actually insured personally, and one of the first key things that you learn about insurance is you can't insure anything you don't own. So the company would have every right not to pay a claim in the event that there was an accident or any type of claim. So that's where I come into play to make sure that they're protected. And that's my main goal. Protect the assets and protect them from anything that were to happen.
And like you don't hear people often like crossing that line. I do this insurance or that insurance, but you don't always hear like, I really want to make sure you're covered 360.
Right.
Yeah.
So I actually started the role about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago now, where Ansay said, you know what, you're a hybrid. Let's do this. Let's be able to help our clients both with their personal as well as their business insurance needs. And we just make sure that they're insured properly. The thing is I always say personal insurance is black and white. They have a house. Here's your coverages that you can purchase. Here's your autos. Here's what you can purchase extra. But when you have a business, you need to know what coverages they actually need for their risk. So that's the most important thing as well, to make sure that they know what their risk is, and go investigate, collaborate, and go in with that.
Just said my word. Collaborate. I love it. I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you've been in this field for 24 years, and did you start your networking also then 24 years ago? And how did you start building your business through networking and stuff like that?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Because of the fact that I was in the personal insurance world at that time, I didn't really necessarily go networking at networking groups. I actually went out and became either on the board of a nonprofit. I made sure that I was in the community helping community businesses with their needs as far as needing support and volunteering. So I've been told that I am the volunteer extraordinaire. I'm always out and about in my community. Yeah, so that's how I did that.
Ooh, you got to talk to her more, Kim. Yeah. Kim and I have found that we've done a lot of volunteering ourselves. So when you said volunteering, getting involved in the other volunteering groups, so then all of a sudden I feel like, wow, we're networking in many more places. We didn't even realize we were networking.
Yeah. No, I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of questions. When you say networking, you don't have to necessarily network in a networking group. You can network in a school, you can network in an organization, pretty much anywhere. Chambers, the Chamber of Commerce has great networking. You're helping out in the facilities, helping out different events that they have. You need to get to know your clientele, your community, and build those relationships. And that's the main key, is building relationships with these.
Always.
Totally agree.
Did you do your number 2?
I did.
Is that kind of? I got John laughing. You know what? Can you cut that? Just kidding. So
rewind.
So it's kind of about, how do you network? What's next?
Well, after you network, you want to ask people for one-on-ones. Today I met somebody new at the networking group that I was just at this morning, Walking Breakfast Club. And he and I are going to meet and learn more about each other. I belong to another networking group in Kenosha, and it was wonderful because I met this gentleman at the Kenosha networking group, and he was able to, I connected him with the library in Burlington because they needed some services. And I said, hey, I know someone. And that's the thing. That's the give. You need to give and you need to connect. It doesn't matter. And I love to network with other insurance agents because we all learn from each other. It's wonderful.
That brings on my hashtag, collaboration, not competition.
That's right.
You work together instead of against each other.
Exactly.
So you all have a little something different to offer. Really, there's something that sets you apart. Something.
Exactly. You are completely right.
And you're not going to know until you have that conversation with the person. So
Right.
I love that.
Yeah, that's another good point when you're doing a lot of networking, is doing the giving back part, where you're referring these new people that you've met to some other people and helping them expand their business also. That's a key point that I don't think we've touched on today. We have in the past, but not today. So
yeah, it's all about, it's such a good feeling when you can say, I know a person, I actually know this person, I have met this person once a month for a whole year, or whatever it even might be, and you've gotten to know their personality, and the personality will match the person you're connecting them with. You're not just connecting email addresses.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
it's important, I think.
One of my favorite questions to ask when I meet with someone is, and it's quite interesting, the answers that I do receive is, what are your passions? And it just opens up that language and just pours out, and then you can really see their true colors of how passionate and what their passions are. So that's one of my favorite questions to ask.
I'm definitely more of a listener than a speaker. I definitely like to listen to what the others have to say, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot.
You do. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today, Karina. It was
Thank
great
you.
to have you. And
Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah. So do you have any specials or offers or events or anything coming up that you want to share with our audience? Anything new and exciting or cool?
I always try to make insurance fun. I am going to have a little plug out. We have the city of Burlington is celebrating their 33rd year of Spooky City, and our office at Spooky City is going to be having a free, family-friendly Find Freddy scavenger hunt from 2 until 4. So it will be amazing. It will be a lot of fun. It's a whole day of festivities, and most of it is free. So yeah, it will be fun.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, that's why I paused and went very slowly. Find Freddy.
Yeah. Well, cool. We also have a page on our site /Karina Kretschmer.
Good job.
Kretschmer.
Yes.
Okay, good. So you guys can reach out to her there or find more information about her also there. And I think that's all we got today for Miss Karina. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Insurance and networking. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, speaking of networking, we have the Connect Show Mastermind every Friday at 10 a.m. Central. We set goals, we hold each other accountable for those goals, and we set another goal. We have a topic every week. It's something different. We have a great group that always shows, but anyone is welcome. You can find that info on theconnectshow.com. And I just want to recap how great the show was today. I love talking about networking. I can always talk about networking. I'm going to do some little selfless plugs. I do have my Professional Women of Wisconsin event tonight at Los Mariachis if you're in Milwaukee. It's at 6 p.m. And I can't wait for that event. And I don't know. I love networking. So I try to attend all the groups. 7:30 doesn't work because of my kids. So
it's hard.
Yeah, it is. But yeah.
I might be able to pop into that one once in a while. I'm going to try to get in there. I-94. Franklin's not too far from me, so.
It's not far from you.
And I'm learning how to get on time to the Breakfast Club, so I think I could be doing it. Like, I think I could. So we're going to thanks to all of our volunteers today, Sandra, Mitch, Rajiv, everybody that's helping behind the scenes. So thanks everybody for helping out. And again, a big thank you for helping us out on Fusion to make that event a success. And thanks for everybody for coming today, and join us next week as we move into acceleration topics. Pretty excited about that.
It's going to be so much fun. I want to thank everyone for joining us on the show today. You can help our community grow. Like, share, subscribe, invite a friend, tell someone about the Connect Show. There is so much to benefit from. Every single month we have a different topic, and we love having the questions in the chat, so bring them on. But the little act of sharing and subscribing goes a long way. So thank you, and we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.